Well, hello.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. It's another week of Case Files.
With Kat.
And Ashley.
We sound like we've just had the best day.
It's technically, when this airs, it'll be a few days before our 7-year anniversary, right?
Sure.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah, well,
the 7th.
You know what?
February 7th is our 7th year of having a podcast. I know.
We might just put something out extra. Extra week.
I mean, you wouldn't know that we've been doing this for 7 years, but we have. And
That's 7 years,
yeah,
girl.
I know.
7 years.
Yeah. Yep, February
Wow.
7th.
I was in my early 40s.
Oh my God, you make us stop.
It doesn't even seem like that long ago.
I was in my early 30s.
That seems like that was a long time ago. But I don't know. That's so funny.
It's really weird to think about how it all started. Like that long ago. It just doesn't feel like it's been that long.
We met, what, I guess 9 or 10 years ago.
I don't think it was long before we decided to start a podcast.
No. Because we had talked about true crime a lot in Toastmasters and stuff.
I guess that's true.
Made you be my friend.
Oh my God. Stop acting like you forced me.
I was that little puppy. What are we doing now, Spike? What are we doing now? Huh? What are we doing now? Where are we going? You're going to be my friend. That was my neurospiciness. I was like, you're like me. You just present different.
Here we are 7 years later. And this conversation is going to be a really good segue into a part
of my God, really?
Later. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I can't wait to hear
word that
about
we
it.
were trying to pronounce earlier.
Folie à deux.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm just kidding.
When it comes to that part, just know that that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
My really bad attempt at French. All right.
I'm not even going to try.
Right.
Not in a French accent. I don't need that kind of hate mail. I get enough hate mail. Anyways, all right. I guess I'm just going to...
Just start.
So they say twins have unbreakable bonds. Ones where they develop secret twin languages, intense connections and experiences.
Yes.
Those psychological just vibes. But what about twins who, I don't know, murder together or display completely psychotic behavior together?
Yes. Who are those people?
Well, I honestly didn't think there would be that many cases, but
no.
But really, there are so many cases involving twins who either murder together, commit other crazy crimes together, go psychotic just really, and I'm not talking about where one twin dies so then the other one goes crazy. I'm talking about truly a lot of twin cases where they are crazy or do
not all twins. No.
I'm talking about there's just so many cases where they collectively commit crimes and random stuff together. So they're...
Will you talk about, and I don't know if there's any answer to this, but why is that? Do you get into that? Is there some theories?
For this particular case, we'll get into why
they
professionals think these twins did it.
Okay. Well, but, I'm excited. I'm excited because that's the question immediately. Why?
But who knows why?
Does that go against, or does it go against, or does it agree with the nurture versus nature argument? They both grew up in the same way, mostly, I'm sure. Yeah. So if they both...
Well, and I've heard cases in the past where one twin has committed a crime, but it's hard to convict because which twin did it? How do you know? Because when you describe the person, it could have been the twin. And then you have the doubt of, well, it could have been the other twin, right?
The power that gives twins. How scary.
Right? Unless they, because there's so much identical, how just if you're going off description, there's that doubt of, well, that twin may be innocent. It may have been the other one. But that's not the case in this situation.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No one get any ideas. Any twins listening, don't get any ideas. You're powerful.
So in May of 2008, drivers on England's M6 motorway witnessed something that is just almost impossible to process. Two women stood in the median of one of the busiest highways in the country. Then one after the other ran directly into moving traffic. Both were struck, both survived, and then within days, one of them would kill a man who had simply tried to help her. These women were twin sisters, Ursula and Sabina Eriksson, and it's a kind of a popular story that some may have heard of, but I don't know that they know the whole history, like the timeline of what actually happened.
Okay.
Most people just know that they were crazy, that they ran into traffic.
Okay.
But it was so well documented, and I'll talk about this because there was actually a film crew filming something that day. So the whole incident of the running into traffic was caught on camera, so in graphic detail. Anyways, so the twin sisters, their case is one that forces us to kind of sit in that uncomfortable space between mental illness, criminal responsibility, and the missed opportunities for someone to have intervened, because there were at least several opportunities where the police could have intervened and prevented some of the things that happened. So Ursula and Sabina were identical twins. They were born in Sweden on November 3rd, 1967. They grew up in the town of Suna in the Värmland region alongside an older sister and an older brother. By the early 2000s, the sisters were living in separate lives, like living totally separate lives. They remained very close in their relationship, but Ursula was actually living in the United States, and Sabina was living in Ireland with her partner and two children, which I thought was really interesting that they lived so far apart, because normally twins they've just used to having each other around, so they're not like across the world from each other.
Yeah, like literally.
Yeah. So public records do not show criminal histories for either woman before this 2008 incident. Oh, my so poor kitty. I haven't seen him in so long. He must know. Anyways, there is also no documented mental health history as children, and it was stated by their siblings, like in later interviews, that they had relatively normal childhoods. Like nothing, like they weren't abused, nothing crazy, according to their siblings, happened. So the absence becomes pretty important later, like, because we don't know much of their history or their mental states, except for what comes from what unfolds in the days following this incident.
Okay, so it's just nothing. That makes it a strange story.
So on Friday, May 16th, 2008, Ursula boarded a plane to County Cork, Ireland, to visit her sister. What happened at the beginning of this visit, or what triggered this visit, is still not known. And so what is known is within 24 hours of landing, the sisters traveled together from Ireland to Liverpool, England. And the Sabina's family didn't really know that, I don't think they really knew that she was going away with her sister. Like, they knew her sister was coming to town, but it kind of felt like they didn't really know that this was the plan.
Maybe they didn't know either.
I don't know. So they traveled to Liverpool, England. They had no friends and no family in Liverpool, so it's really unclear. Again, there's a lot of things about the story that they never got answers to. So, yeah, there's no information on why they were traveling to Liverpool. That's just where they were going.
Big Beatles fan.
Yeah. Their first stop after getting off the ferry was the St. Anne Street police station. Sabina ran frantically into this police department and was like declaring that her children were in danger and they needed help right away. Like the
ones that she just left.
Yes. Like less than 400 miles away from where they were. She was being very erratic, very frantic, very sure, trying to tell the police that her children were in danger and someone needed to do something about it. So the specifics of those claims of like what they were in danger from or from who was never disclosed publicly. However, It is known she never contacted her partner or her children after she left them to go to England with her sister. So, like, how would she know they weren't in danger? But despite this erratic behavior...
Did the partner ever get interviewed, and, like, do we know what they were thinking?
Well, the police did follow up on her request because they're like, well, maybe she's not crazy. Maybe there is something. Maybe she did. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they thought maybe she did something. Yeah. Anyway, so despite her erratic behavior, the police followed up on the request, and they made contact with the Dublin police officers who followed up on the complaint. When the police went to her house to check on her family, they found them perfectly okay. Like there was,
they're like sitting down eating dinner going, what's up?
They said, if anything, they were extremely confused on why there were police at the door and why Sabina would say they were in danger, because literally they were all perfectly fine.
Did they know where she was at this point?
They knew that she was with her sister, and now they knew that she was in England, but they didn't know that why.
Before. They didn't know they were going to England before that. Okay, that's strange. Okay.
So after this reassuring news, the police were relieved to report back to the Eriksson sisters with the positive update, but they were really baffled upon learning that the sisters had already left. They didn't even wait around to see if the children were okay. They had boarded a National Express coach headed down to London. And this is already kind of a crazy story, but this is where things really start to go, what the fuck?
Things that make you go,
According to the driver, while on this coach, both twins were now displaying extremely paranoid, erratic behavior. According to the driver, they would stand up at random intervals, clutching onto their bags for dear life. They refused to put their bags in the luggage hold. They were just pacing. They were just being loud. And the driver started to fear that these sisters would become violent. So he was afraid they were going to start attacking other passengers on the bus. So because of this, he made an unplanned stop at the nearest coach station and he made sure to escort them personally off of the bus. And it was at this point that the other people really started to get nervous, because they assumed that the fact that these women were acting so strange and they were so reluctant to put their bags in the luggage hold, that it was an indicator that maybe they were terrorists and they had explosives in their bags, because they were being so strange and they wouldn't let anyone near the bags. They wouldn't let go. They were clutching onto them. They were acting erratic. So the driver called the police.
Oh my gosh. It just starts like devolving so quickly. Okay.
And so after a very long conversation with the police, they were somehow allowed to leave. Now, mind you, they were acting so insane earlier at the police station, talking about the children being in danger. They left before the police came back to let them know about the children. Then they get on this bus and are acting so erratic that the bus driver is in fear that he stops and gets them off the bus. People think they're terrorists. And then they just have this conversation with the police, and the police, oh, all right, you're good to go. Like, very strange. So there was an article in Medium that said whether the twins had somehow appeared sane or it was negligence on the police's part, it doesn't matter. And the twins left on foot. But what happened next, those police will not ever live down. It has proved to be one of the most shocking police incidences ever televised on British television. So remember, I told you there was a television crew that just happened to be in the area where all of this was happening the day it was happening. It was everything that happened next was captured on video and later broadcast to millions of people. There are several shows where this was broadcast.
Oh my God.
And so a camera crew was filming as part of like this traffic enforcement television program. They caught the entire series of events. So when the women got off the bus and they had stopped talking to the police initially, they then darted out into...
This happened like right at that
pretty
same
much
time. Oh my God.
They run into what would be something similar to our medians. Like, just imagine being on 45.
Okay. But something that big?
Yes.
Okay.
This is I'll talk more about it, but this is like the largest roadway Okay. And so they run into this median. They're in traffic. Cars are speeding by. They're like, police see them on CCTV camera. There's the camera crew there. There's police there already.
Oh my God.
So they immediately put a roadblock, and it was issued to stop the traffic, to stop the girls. But the pair instead still tried to run into lanes of traffic. Miraculously, at that point, neither one of them were seriously injured, and the police from the Central Motorway Police Group were called in to assist. When those police arrived, the sisters switched back to being very calm.
Oh my God.
Like, they immediately stopped acting crazy. They were calm.
What do you mean I ran out into the middle of the freeway?
The police were even being appraised on how they were handling the situation. And during that moment, when they were being like where they were appraising the situation, where they were being like, okay, this is under control, everything's fine. In their distraction, Ursula broke free and ran into the side of an oncoming semi-trailer truck traveling at 56 miles per hour. She suffered catastrophic leg injuries, but was still alive. Okay, so it's important to remember, she gets hit by a semi-truck, should be dead. She's alive. Catastrophic leg injuries. Okay. Moments later, Sabina, the twin sister, seemingly in a daze, quickly followed her into the road and was hit head-on by a Volkswagen Polo traveling at a very high rate speed. She also survives. She was struck by the car, thrown into the air, and knocked unconscious. Both of these women should have died. Both of them survived. So you've got Ursula with the catastrophic leg injuries.
Oh my God.
She is now being restrained by the police officers, and she is screaming, "I recognize you. I know you're not real. I know you're not real." And then Sabina, who got hit by the speeding Volkswagen, is now conscious, and she is shouting, "They're going to steal your organs," talking about them trying to take Ursula to the hospital. To the surprise of the police, Sabina, who had just got hit by the Volkswagen, traveling at high speed, thrown through the air, and was unconscious for like 15 minutes, gets up. And she starts screaming for help, calling for the police, even though they were already there.
Like,
she is like moving around. They're trying to get her to sit down. She strikes an officer in the face and then runs into traffic again. Finally, they get her. But yeah, she, like, after all of that, she was able to get up and still punch an officer in the face and then take off. Richard Cousins, a witness at the scene,
were they like on PCP or something? Like,
Richard Cousins, a witness at the scene, called Sabina's regaining consciousness and striking the officer as a display of superhuman strength. "To me, that wasn't really human," he continued. "You don't get run over by a car doing 70 miles per hour on the motorway and then by another car, thrown into the air, falling unconscious for 10 minutes, and then go running over to try and do it again." Yeah. So at this point, we're at the motorway. You've got Ursula with the catastrophic leg injuries, who ran over by the 18-wheeler. You've got Sabina, who was hit, thrown, unconscious, now up on her feet. She's currently restrained. So emergency workers and several members of the public caught up with Sabina when she tried to head into the traffic again, and they restrained her and carried her to a waiting ambulance, at which point she was handcuffed and sedated. Giving the similarities in their behaviors, many thought they had a suicide pact or that there was drug use involved.
Right.
But neither one of those was ever proven. When they got to the hospitals, they did drug tests and there was no drugs supposedly in their system.
Wow.
At this point, Ursula is she is gravely injured, right? Like, this 18-wheeler destroyed her legs. I don't even know how she's alive. Like, I don't suggest it, but if you watch the broadcast, they don't censor it. It's pretty graphic. There's two, I don't remember the exact names. I'll have to look it up in a minute, but there's two different ones. And there's tons of podcasts and YouTube channels and everything that show the videos. I don't want to show those pictures. I think it's insane. Like, anyways, she's taken to the hospital by air. Now, Sabina was taken to the hospital where, despite her ordeal and an apparent lack of her, like, she wasn't even concerned about Ursula at the hospital. And, like, they're having her take off jewelry and stuff, and she's, like, being flirty. She's, like, pretending to be upset that she has to take her jewelry off. Like, she didn't just try to run into traffic 3 times, and her sister didn't just get run over by an like, she's just doesn't seem to really be comprehending the seriousness of the things that just happened. Anyways, so she becomes much calmer at the hospital, and she is released 5 hours later. Now, when she's released, she is taken into police custody. And this is really the first time that the twins were physically separated since arriving in England. In police custody, she remained super relaxed.
They just know how to work that little bit.
Like, very calm, very rational, very relaxed.
I didn't try to run into traffic and punch a cop.
Yeah.
What are y'all talking about?
This is just a normal Tuesday. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Can I have a latte?
Right. And while being processed, she told an officer, "We say in Sweden that an accident rarely comes alone. Usually at least one more follows, maybe 2. So that seemed kind of weird.
That's weird.
Like, what do you mean? Like, you're saying there's going to be 2 more? And like, you're going to do?
People say, I mean, they do say that, right? Like, that,
I've never heard that.
Deaths come in 3s.
Oh, I guess.
Like,
but that's not what she was saying.
No, but like, bad things come in 3s. Yeah.
So in those bags that they were so set on clutching and not putting in the luggage hold. So the police were investigating the area. They found the bags, and it's just as weird. In these bags, what they found were multiple cell phones. They found 1,000 pounds in like a little clear bag. And then they found a laptop. And then they found a passport that belonged to Sabina, but nothing that identified Ursula. Like, no passport. And, she had to have one to get overseas. She had no passport, no identification. There was literally just multiple cell phones, a laptop, one passport, and then the money. And they gave that all back to Sabina when she was released from the jail, like from police custody. Never explained why there was multiple phones. Didn't check the laptop. Didn't explain why. Where's your sister's identification? Like, why do you have multiple phones? Like,
the failure of the police in this story is just like a step at like every step of the story. Remember, it's police failure.
Whenever they're with the police, they're very sane. They're very relaxed. I understand, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like they're in police custody and they're acting erratic and then they get locked up. They're very calm.
But guess what? Ted Bundy was also super calm in front of the police.
I understand what you're saying.
That doesn't erase
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's easier for the police sometimes though to be like, oh, well, they seem okay.
They're
like,
right.
we don't want to do the paperwork. We'll let them go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they had a bad day.
Oh.
Don't we all want to run into traffic every now and then, right? Like,
they were hangry.
Right. They're just women being women, right? Like hormones.
They were perimenopausal. I get it, girl. I get it.
Right. I don't know why they just let her go. Okay, but they let her go. She was released on May 18th, 2008. Sabina was charged with minor offenses related to the motorway incident and for striking a police officer.
That's it. Just what? Okay.
She appeared in court and was sentenced to time served. At this point, she was released.
Were they really pretty? Were they young? I mean, how old were they?
They were in their 40s.
Were they cute?
I don't know I don't know how to answer that objectively.
I guess.
I think they're supermodels? No, but I don't know what.
Okay, I have to look at them.
They may be beauty. over there, they may have been supermodels. I don't know, but
Standard of beauty is different in every country.
I know,
so true.
it's
That's so true.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
That is
Okay,
so
I'm not
true.
trying to judge
You're so
someone
diplomatic.
by their looks. Okay,
Well,
do
I
I
mean, hot
think
is hot? I mean,
I understand that. I don't think that it was their looks that got them
Okay.
out of the situations that
mean-
they were in. I don't
Okay,
know what
okay.
got them out
I'm
of their
just-
situation.
I'm just
don't-
wondering why it's like, you're all right. You're
So
good.
she was sentenced to time served. At this point, again, she is released from jail. She is not in police custody at all. There was no full psychiatric hold. There was not even a psychiatric exam done.
What's going on over there? All right. Okay.
I'm just saying, I feel like even if you thought that she was okay, like, you're not going to do any kind of psychiatric exam. Like, they ran into traffic 3 fucking times. They got kicked off a bus for acting crazy.
They thought they were terrorists.
They thought their children were in danger. Like, I don't understand how there was no psychiatric exams done. I just don't get it. Like, I don't know. So anyways, there was no psychiatric hold. There was no long-term mental health detention. She was just released to go back about her business. And this,
I would have been happy with the short term.
there was, yeah, but there was nothing, right? Like, nothing. And it's because of this that the tragedy that comes afterwards happens.
Oh shit, I forgot.
So this decision would become one of the most controversial aspects of this entire case and leads to very, very tragic consequences for other people, not even for the twins, really. With it,
I don't care about them now.
I know.
I feel like they're about to go on a rampage.
well,
Okay, go. All right.
Ursula's-
sucks.
Ursula is not in the picture right now. Sabina is the one that's released. And within less than 48 hours later, Sabina would violently kill a man. After her release, Sabina was alone in a town called Stoke-on-Trent, England. And for those who are wondering about the name, it was like named after an old city that was on the Trent River. But she was supposedly wandering around with her belongings in a bag, trying to locate where the hospital that Ursula was in.
Like being a hobo. Like
Yeah, kind of like she had her like the clear bag that the jail
Oh,
gives you
yeah.
when you're released. She had the phones and the laptop and her money in this bag.
with her stick.
I don't think there was a stick. But she was claiming that she was trying to locate the hospital where Ursula was, which I don't know that Ursula was still in the hospital at this time. But even if she was, you didn't care about her when you were literally in the hospital with her.
Her legs were all messed up. They didn't keep her for some time.
I mean,
You
I'm
said
just
catastrophic.
Ursula, yes, not Sabina.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, Sabina didn't seem to care about her when she was in the hospital, is
Oh.
what.
Yeah. So
Inter-
how long has passed since the accident to now?
Like a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. I thought it
Yeah.
was like that next day. Okay.
No.
Okay.
So the original incident happened on May 16th.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways,
And so what day are we on?
we're on May 18th. This is 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying, like, some of the stuff that unfolds. Yeah.
Okay.
So Ursula gets hit. She's in the hospital. Catastrophic leg injuries. Sabina goes to the police, gets charged, immediately released, like 2 days later, time served, no punishment, like completely out. She's wandering around aimlessly looking for this hospital where Ursula was, okay? But again, she was just there 2 days before. She didn't seem to care about her. Now she's looking for her. Anyways, she was walking the streets carrying her belongings in that clear plastic bag, and she appeared disoriented and distressed. This is when she crosses paths with Glenn Hollinshead, who was a 54-year-old self-employed welder, qualified paramedic, and former RAF airman, and his friend Peter Malloy, who they were out walking their dog. So these two men were out just hanging out. They're friends. They see Sabina. She approaches them. She starts petting their dog. Like, she's asking them for directions to remember, she said she was looking for her sister, but when she's talking to them, they say that she was asking for directions to nearby bed and breakfasts or hotels, at which point Glenn invited her into his home, even though Peter was extremely worried about how Sabina was acting. So Glenn felt the sympathy for her, felt bad for her because she looked so disoriented and she was looking for this place to go. And, just being the serviceman he was, being the paramedic he was, like, he was a qualified paramedic. It's not, like, he did have training in this field. Anyways. So she accepts the invitation and she's relaxing, and she then at that point tells them that she's trying to find her sister who's in the hospital. So Glenn says, I'll try to help you find it tomorrow. Like, I'll make some calls, I'll figure it out. So they go back to the house. They're having drinks. They're just all hanging out at the house. This is Glenn, Peter,
This
Sabina.
stresses me out.
So she's clearly okay enough to get an invitation into this house, right? She's in the house. They're hanging out. Her odd behavior starts to continue. It picks back up. Oh, no. She's looking out the window. She's acting erratic. Peter assumes that she had run away from an abusive partner. Mm. So he thinks that she's making up these stories, that she's just trying to get away, that she's... Basically, everyone just assumes there's something they're not. The first people thought they were terrorists. The other people thought they were just, having a breakdown. These guys think that she's fleeing an abusive partner. So she appeared to get very paranoid. She started acting very paranoid. She would offer them cigarettes and then immediately snatch them out of their mouths, telling them that they were poisoned. Like, the cigarettes were poisoned. Like, she would be like, here, do you want a cigarette? And then they would put it in their mouths and she would immediately snatch it out. So shortly before midnight, Peter leaves, and he said that Sabina was still there when he left. What followed was So Glenn was just trying to help her out. He saw a woman who was in need, who had nowhere to go, who seemed distressed. He was trying to do the right thing by having her in his house, and he was going to help her find her sister. The next morning, they wake up around midday. He's calling his brother regarding the local hospitals, trying to locate Ursula. He starts trying to find any information he can. Around 7:40 at night, he starts cooking dinner for them. Like, he's trying to cook her a meal. And he leaves the house for a moment to go ask the neighbor named Frank Booth for tea bags, and then goes back inside. 1 minute later, he staggers outside. He's bleeding. He's got a knife in him. He said, "She stabbed me," before collapsing to the ground and dying from his injuries. His last words before he died was, "Please look after my dog." At some point inside the home, between the time he went to the neighbors and came back, literally like less than a minute, she had stabbed him 4 to 5 times. Like, violently stabbed him with a knife. Fatally stabbed him. Like, he died very quickly. So after leaving the house, Sabina continues to behave extremely erratic. Now, Frank dialed 999, which is their equivalent of 911. As he did this, Sabina fled the premises and was caught on the run by nearby CCTV. She ran out of the house with a hammer, and she was periodically hitting her own head with this hammer. She was just like hitting herself all over on the head. A passing motorist named Joshua...
I wonder if she was going to be like, he did this to me, like if that was going to be her like, I was protecting myself.
A passing motorist, Joshua Grottage, saw this and decided to tackle her to try to take control of the hammer. While wrestling with him, Sabina screamed, took a roof tile out of her pocket.
What?
And struck him on the back of the head with it, stunning him temporarily. I don't know where she got this roof tile, but he was just trying to help her because he's driving by and he sees this woman running down the street, hitting herself in the head with a hammer. So he stops, tries to tackle her and get it away from her. Clearly, she's having some kind of mental episode.
I can't imagine doing that once, but doing it more than once is just like beyond me. Like the amount of pain that she's just not feeling.
Yeah, I don't know. So again, she takes this roof towel out of her pocket. She strikes him with it on the back of the head. He's stunned. By this time, paramedics had found her. They started chasing her.
Oh my God.
She jumps off a 40-foot tall bridge onto a roadway below, sustaining serious injuries. She's still alive. Jumps from a 40-foot fucking bridge. Still alive. She breaks both of her ankles and fractures her skull.
That's probably from the hammer. No?
She fell from a 40-foot bridge. I'm assuming that.
She was also hitting herself.
Yeah.
They could both be be
They
true.
could both be true. I don't know how hard she was hitting her head, right? Like, they just said...
Even a little bit would hurt. Yikes.
So she breaks both her ankles. She fractures her skull. She's alive. This time, when she goes to the hospital and she's cleared and she's being wheeled out in a wheelchair, the police arrest her. That's when the investigation into Glenn's death has already begun. So they arrest her. Sabina's charged with the murder of Glenn. Her case was delayed for months due to difficulties obtaining medical records from Sweden. They were trying to get her medical history, and it was just proving to be very difficult, and there was a lot of delays with that. So, again, Ursula's not in the picture. Like, now we're talking months. Ursula's gone. Like, when she got out of the hospital, she went back to the United States. She stuck around for a little bit, but not for Sabina. She gets released from the hospital. She's in Sweden for a little bit. She goes back home to the United States. So, again, months.
Sorry, sis.
Yeah.
Love ya.
So, eventually, Sabina enters a guilty plea to manslaughter by reason of diminished responsibility. So, that plea meant that the court accepted that her mental functioning at the time of the killing was severely impaired, though not absent. She was sentenced to 5 years in prison. She killed a man.
Oh my God.
Who was trying to help her. She jumped from a 40-foot bridge after spending 2 days before that running into traffic multiple times.
All of those cops should take a unpaid leave for a little bit.
She was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Now, the court did not treat the killing as an intentional murder, but it also did not treat it as a purely medical event. It existed in this kind of gray space between the two, and they didn't really know what to do with this. So it wasn't until the case became public that mental health professionals and researchers began discussing it as a possible example of shared psychosis, sometimes called Folie à Deux. Yeah. So this refers to a situation where two people share the same delusional beliefs. Often they are within a very close, isolated relationship. In many cases, separating the individual leads to improvement in one or both. But it's kind of notable here because Ursula remained hospitalized after the incident and did not commit any further acts of violence, whereas Sabina separated and released completely fucking spiraled.
Insanity.
Now, pretty much this entire court case, not only did the medical professionals or mental health professionals and Sabina's lawyer blame Ursula for the whole thing, calling her the primary and the influencer in this Folie à Deux scenario. Primary in this situation means that it's the main person with the mental illness. So they're saying that Ursula had the true mental illness and that because of their closeness, she convinced Sabina to think that she was also, she convinced Sabina to think the way that she was thinking. And Sabina even told the courts that Ursula's insanity was transmitted to her.
So, hold up. So Ursula went home. How did
Ursula booked it. She went back to the States.
She went home and just her family all good in the States?
She didn't have
anybody.
She didn't commit murder. She didn't run back into traffic. Well, she couldn't run. She didn't wheel herself back into traffic. She didn't I'm just saying. saying.
She didn't run around the streets. Well, she couldn't run. She did wheel her ass everywhere.
All I'm saying is for them to say that she's the primary and that she's the one with the mental illness and she's the one that caused Sabina to do what she did. She's not the one that killed somebody. She's not the one that ran into traffic 3 times or jumped off a 40-foot bridge or hit herself in the head with a hammer.
Like, is it still shared psychosis if it's not shared anymore? That's what I'm saying.
Even if it's not shared, to say that you're not responsible because your sister is the one that had the mental illness and you're not actually mentally insane. You're just being... Her insanity was transmitted to you because of that twin bond.
And you took that shit and ran with it, like, my sister.
Ursula didn't, I mean, other than running into traffic and getting hit, okay, she did not, like, that was the end of her chaos. So, I don't know. Anyways, other professionals have suggested that the episode may fit acute polymorphic psychotic disorder, which is a sudden onset of a psychotic state marked by rapidly shifting symptoms. These explanations are not mutually exclusive. So basically, you just randomly have a psychotic break and your symptoms keep changing. 1 minute you may be doing what she did where you run into traffic. 1 minute you're calm and relaxed. And the next minute
did she stay like that? I mean, did it last any much longer after that she finally got caught?
When she was in church, when she was in jail, she became a Christian. Like, she started studying and following Christianity and changed her ways and did not perform any other psychotic behavior when she was in jail.
And then she got out and then she just went balls to the wall crazy.
No. Other professionals suggested that's what she had. Again, I'm not sure why there wasn't a psychiatric exam done the first time all this happened. Anyways, with many cases that we cover, there was a lot of controversy. The central question, of course, is should Sabina have ever actually been released the first time when she was arrested? Police in England have the authority to detain someone under emergency mental health powers when they pose an immediate risk to themselves or others. Critics argue that running into traffic, expressing paranoid delusions, and surviving a violent collision should have met those thresholds. But as we know, in so many cases we cover, the systems and policies put into place to protect people clearly failed her and failed Glenn.
Clearly.
Because how much more...
What's a girl got to do to
What much more did you need to put her in a mental hold if those are the qualifications?
Wow.
Because at the time that she ran into, she had expressed delusional behavior. She had reported her children were in danger. She was showing paranoia and all these other things. And yet there was no mental exam.
I wonder what has changed.
We're going to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Well,
great.
Some of it. So supporters of the officers involved point out that the mental health detention has strict legal limits and requires clinical background that they may not have had available at the time. Okay, excuse me. I don't care how much training you do or do not have. I think it was pretty fucking obvious they were in a mental breakdown. There was some kind of mental illness. There was something happening.
Yes.
And they should have been held. I don't think it took a mental health professional to see what was happening.
I concur.
Anyways, so what is undisputed is that the decision to release her created the conditions for a completely preventable death. So there was a Freedom of Information request that were made years later that confirmed the police still hold extensive records related to the case, but much of the information remains sealed to supposedly protect those involved. So they haven't released all of the information they supposedly have. So like I said, Ursula recovered from her injuries and she was not charged with anything. She came back to the States. Sabina served her sentence and returned to private life. Now, Glenn's brother told the newspaper that he believed the criminal justice system failed his brother when they allowed Sabina to return to society after the incident on the M6 motorway. He said her mental condition should have been properly assessed after what she did on the motorway and experiences the police had. Her mental disorder should have been picked up prior to her being let out of the community, out into the community. So the M6 motorway is like the longest roadway in the area. It goes all the way to Scotland. There's usually high volumes of traffic traveling very fast speeds. So, I mean, it's not like a little freeway or whatever. Like, they were definitely trying to get hit. There was no way. Yeah, there was no disputing that they were going to get hit. It was just when or by how many. Anyways, so
could you imagine? I'm sorry. They're not even thinking about the people who would end up hitting them.
Right.
And how, if they did die, what that would do to those people. It's like, that's fucked up.
Right. So his brother was just very upset. He thought his brother didn't get any kind of justice. She was only sentenced to 5 years for the murder. Didn't really get any sort of true punishment. He said she never should have been released, which I think we can all agree that she should have been on some kind of psychotic hold, whatever, until an evaluation was done. So anyways, Glenn's death remains a very stark reminder of what can happen when severe mental illness intersects with gaps in crisis response. We see it all the time here in America. This case is often framed as strange or sensationalized, but if you just take it down, it's just a very ordinary mental illness example of what happens when it's untreated, when people don't intervene. There was a system in place that had a chance to slow this down, but they could have saved a life. But the reality is that mental illness does not always look as dramatic as the movies make it seem, right? Until it's just too late. So this wasn't like a crime that unfolded behind closed doors. It was in full view of the public, on camera, with police involved. That's what makes it a case that gets discussed often on podcasts, on TV shows, on research papers. And I'm sure, again, this is not the first time most of you have heard of these twins. You may just not have known what led to the events or their names. There's a lot of coverage that leans hard into the idea of this mysterious twin bond. And yes, Ursula and Sabina were identical twins. Yes, they were close. But twins don't automatically share delusions. What mental health experts point out is that shared psychosis usually requires more than just closeness. It often involves isolation, emotional dependence, and a feedback loop where one person's fear reinforces the other's fear. But at the time of the motorway incident, the sisters, yes, they were traveling together in a foreign country, and they were apparently convinced that something terrible was happening to them, but whatever was going on wasn't developed in like the vacuum. They were not isolated. They were not being abused. They were not, this wasn't your traditional sense of the shared psychosis type thing. Like, they didn't even live together. Like, they had only been together for less than 24 hours at this point. So years later, this case is still referenced in discussions about policing, mental health laws, and how crises should be responded to. Not because of the bizarre nature, but because of how it exposes how thin that safety net is. Police officers are not trained in mental health. They don't know how to handle a lot of the situations. Emergency services are limited, and hospitals are overwhelmed. That's just the fact. There are so many people that are first responders who simply don't know how to handle someone having a mental breakdown or a mental episode of some kind. And we've seen and
that's how people die.
And we've seen it. Some agencies are training their police officers to recognize, or they send someone who is a mental health professional to the scene. But what happens if they don't get there fast enough? What happens if someone just reacts? So that's the problem here. And so, or, they fail and they don't hold someone, which is the case of Sabina. She wasn't held. She was released, and not even 48 hours later, she kills a man. So anyways, though this information is rarely included in the timeline, on the 6th of December in 2012, there was footage that was anonymously uploaded to the internet that should significantly change the understanding of the actual events of the motorway, because there are shots at the time of the footage that aired on. Okay, so the two shows I was talking about was Traffic Cops and Madness in the Fast Lane. Those are the two shows that recorded and broadcast the whole incident of the twins running into the street and the police officers. So in it, though, there's footage that shows two police officers that stood on the shoulder of the M6 after the motorway incident, agreeing that the sisters should have been given a 136, which is a clause within the Mental Health Act that means the police can hold a person on the account of their mental health, as well as having to give the detainee a mental health assessment. But neither of those things happened. But it was recorded that the police officers were talking to one another, saying that there should be one done. It is believed that the police requested that the production company for these shows who shot the footage remove that segment from their films, but they did not. It was, uploaded. What that means is that Sabina should never have been released after one day, meaning Glenn should be alive. He never would have met her. He never would have invited her in, and he never would have been stabbed. But the question is, if the police were on film discussing, and you can see it, it's evidence, they discussed that there should have been a 136 hold. So why didn't that happen? Why didn't they follow through with that? Like what?
And what are the consequences for that?
Well, the consequences is innocent man died.
Exactly. And they see no consequences for themselves, which they should. They absolutely fucking should.
Mental health matters. Having access to affordable mental health service matters. And talking about it matters. I think there's still such a taboo on people talking about mental health and what they're going through, and it should be talked about more. So there's still a lot of unknowns that remain in this case today. So most of the questions people ask are, why did they have multiple phones? What happened to Ursula's identification? How did she get home back to the United States?
Why were they even there?
Without a passport?
Why were they even
where were
there?
they going?
Where were they going?
What were they planning to do before they got on that bus and got removed for acting crazy? What was their plan? What was on the laptop? What exactly did the twins...
What was on the phones?
Yeah.
Where were they going?
The phones got damaged when they got hit by it. Yeah. So, but the laptop wasn't. Anyways, what did the twins truly believe was happening to them? What triggered their psychotic break, and were there signs before this? Did her partner happen to notice that she was being a little crazy? He never said anything. He said that she was perfectly normal until they ran off. And so what conversations took place between the sisters before this incident happened? We have answers to none of this because it wasn't asked. It's not in any interviews. If it's on file somewhere, the police have never released the information. And so another thing that a lot of people want to know is if it's true that they had a normal childhood, why did they choose to go so far away from not only where they grew up, but from each other? Why did they move across the world from each other? What made them one come to the United States? And when I say she's in the United States, I mean she's in Washington. So not only is she in the United States, she's as far in the United States, short of going to Alaska, as she can be from her sister. You know what I mean? So were they just what was going on? And none of that ever came to light.
Damn.
So there's of course a lot of theories from online commenters. Some believe the twins were on amphetamines. Some believe they unknowingly or maybe knowingly ingested a very heavy dose of LSD. Again, though, they were tested. They did get drug tested. Not a psychiatric exam, but they got tested for drugs. There was none in their system. Some of it does come out of your system pretty fast, though, like as far as drug tests goes. But anyways,
Like cocaine.
others believe that they were involved in drug smuggling and had already actually been under police investigation. I don't know where that comes from, but that's where they get that belief. And then some say that they were possessed by demons.
That's it.
And of course, we'll never actually know what, because after this happened, literally, like, Sabina just kind of disappears. She gets released from jail. She's out of there. Her whereabouts are unknown to this day. She's been out of the public eye. She's never done an interview. She's never talked to anybody. She was just got released from jail. Nobody knows where she is, which is kind of scary. Also,
could find her. They could find her.
Well, they could
if someone paid for it. Yeah.
Right. But for all purposes, she stays out of the media. She stays out of public view. She's living somewhere that people don't know. And she was released in 2011. Now, in 2008, again, when Ursula was released from the hospital, she came back to the States. Like I said, she did not stick around for Sabina's trial. She didn't move there. She came here. And as of 2018, she was listed as a member of the Sacred Heart Church in Bellevue, Washington. But that's literally the only other information that has really been released of the sisters after they committed these psychotic behaviors and then got released. So what causes them to have this psychotic breakdown, like truly psychotic, with moments of very calm, relax? Whenever they're talking to the police, they were very calm, relaxed. So they knew what to do. They knew what they were doing. And then to get out of the hospital and to get out of jail and then just go back to a completely normal lifestyle. Like they didn't do anything. I don't understand. I don't know how that happens. I don't get it. But as it stands, neither one has ever been arrested again. They haven't committed any crazy acts. They haven't murdered anyone else. They're not in psychiatric hospitals anywhere. In one article, it said that Ursula has done interviews about the incident, but I couldn't find any of them at all. So I don't know if I just missed them, but I did. I looked and I searched for them and I found tons of podcasts talking about them. I found a ton of normal documentaries. I didn't find any of Ursula actually talking about the incident. So to me, it's such a strange, especially because they were twins. I don't know. It adds something to it to me, because normally you would, something like that would be like lovers, right? Like the two people in love, like they go crazy together, commit crime sprees, whatever.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah. You've covered several couples that went crazy together. And so it's just, it's interesting to me. It's an interesting case to me, one, because they're twins. Two, because they were so calm up until that day. They were calm when they were being interviewed by the police. They commit these crazy erratic behaviors that no one knows why they did it, never explained. And then they just go back to normal everyday lives, to never be in the news again, to never be arrested again, to nothing. I just don't get it. But anyways, that's my story of the Eriksson twins.
Eriksson twins. Eriksson.
Yeah,
those people. That's wild. I can't believe those police officers weren't let go. Honestly, it's just wild, and that's so sad for Glenn. But what a nice man.
He was just really, really trying to help her, and it's just very, very unfortunate.
It's so sad. Ugh, breaks your heart.
I will say that some sources claim that Sabina went back to Sweden where they grew up, not back to her family, but back to Sweden. But again, she's been out of the limelight.
Oh, I'm sure
ever
her
since she was
family
released in 2011. Yeah, I'm sure.
Her family was like, "Nah, we're good. Yeah, we're whatever that is. We don't want it." That was because I think what I find sort of not maddening, but just sort of bad term to use for this one, just sort of like what gets me is, did they must have known, something in them said, okay, this is a police officer. don't get caught. So act normal.
Both of them.
And both of them.
Talked
and then,
normal and calm and
then
relaxing.
As soon as they had a second, they were like, boom, I'm out. And so they knew there was something in them. It wasn't like, I don't know who you are. You're the Easter Bunny. You know, they weren't like that. They were like, no, you're a cop. I don't want to go to jail, so let me act normal.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. The way they could just switch off makes me feel like they absolutely knew what they were doing. Because if you're in a true psychotic break, I feel like...
That's not madness to me. That's not madness, being able to decide.
That's acting out to me. When you're able to suddenly realize, oh, I need to calm it down. I feel like if you're in a true psychotic break, I don't know. I've never been in one, so I'm not trying to judge. Maybe you can. But I feel like you're on some level very aware of what you're doing if you're able to calm down and rationally speak.
So that you don't get put away.
Yeah, so you get released from jail after you just ran into traffic.
And punched a cop.
Right. Because here, if you punch a cop in the face, you're definitely not getting out the next day.
No.
And if you run into traffic, you're definitely getting on a psychiatric hold.
So. Man, it's just nuts.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how I'm going to follow that one up. I actually have too many stories that I'm like, oh, I want to do that one.
And now I want to do like every twin story I
know,
found.
Right?
So I'll probably do another twin story the next time I talk, because now I'm fascinated.
I know.
I was as
so
fascinated with these as I am with disappearances now.
Okay.
Now I wish I had a twin.
Oh my God. That's amazing. All right. Well,
if you see something, say something.
See something, say something. I don't know what I got for you next week, but we'll be here. Until then, you see something, say something. With all that's going on in the world, please remember to just be kind to one another. We are all just trying to make it.
Yes.
We're all just trying to make it.
And if you are going through something mentally, don't keep it to yourself. There is always somebody. You can message us. There are tons of hotlines. There are a ton of resources. Please utilize them. Don't think you're alone.
You're not alone. That's why we should just all try to just be kind to one another. All right. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.